Did you know that the cup of coffee you enjoy goes through a series of stages to derive that lovely aromatic taste? Research is carried out delivering different varieties of seedlings, which are then groomed by the farmer to produce a huge amount of ripe cherries that are processed by extracting a green bean that is roasted, ground and brewed to make a ready-to-drink cup of coffee. We cast our net deeper into the role of different players in the coffee value chain.
I carefully take steps from the beginning to ensure that I have the right coffee. Number one, I have gone to Uganda Coffee Development Authority to get seedlings from their licensed nurseries.
Part of our budget goes to the National Coffee Research Institute to do research that is applied to coffee, and this includes development of pest and disease-resistant varieties. To also do value addition on coffee, they do some products out of coffee, which are now ready for commercialization.
Our new agenda is to make sure that the farmer gets much more from a small plot of land. In fact, our mission is to increase the total factor productivity of the small farmers' field.
Uganda has unrealized potential in both yield and productivity on the side of farmers, but also on the quality that the Ugandan coffee can be if grown under the right conditions.
If you have given a plant a very good agronomic practices, it reduces an infection, which is cheaper than buying the chemical that the farmer may not afford.
When the red ripe cherry comes to our stations, then we start taking cherry through the processing cycle, starting with fermentation. After fermentation, then we would have decided, are we going to produce a natural, are we going to produce a honey, or are we going to produce a washed coffee? Once we have done that part of the processing, then we start drying. Drying is critical because that's when you're allowing slow drying, absorption of sugars into the bean. And if you dry too fast, you're cooking the coffee and spoiling the quality. It is the poor roads that we have to take the coffee from the mountain. Sometimes it's raining, sometimes trucks are stuck on the road for days. If you're processing cherry, it starts fermenting, before you know it, over-fermenting, and that you could lose an entire truck because it's over-fermented.
Of course, our farmers are small holders, which means they cannot get a lot of volume. So their major role is to put together the different volumes of coffees from different farmers. They put them together, then they are able to get a better market. So the major role is to ensure that cooperatives bargain for their members.
If a farmer is to work individually, most likely they will sell their coffee when it is still flowering. And that could earn them even less than 200 shillings if you look at it in value terms. However, when they work as a cooperative, as an association that is using the farm ownership model, they will achieve an added value of 250% from their coffee.
And at that point, when the coffee is thoroughly cleaned, that's when we engage UCDA for the contract registration. And this process usually takes between 2 to 3 days, getting a UCDA inspector here and getting the confirmation from the lab to load. Yeah, so at that point, the coffee is loaded, usually in 20-feet containers. But over the years, we've seen this evolve to 40-feet containers.
Because our culture, our coffee drinking culture is still young, we do not have enough investment in the value chain to supply the local market. And that's why we have been losing a lot of value exporting only green. If I were to produce roasted coffee, I would right away increase my value by 8 times. So I lose money and the economy loses jobs when I export green.
The industry stakeholders have sought strategies to increase demand locally and internationally.
I believe baristas are the key, or they're the faces of the coffee gospel because of the craftiness of the barista, how they make their coffee. It makes it special for even new people to enjoy it even more. I believe if the government can equip the barista academies or barista schools with more knowledge, using the latest machinery and the latest technology in craft brewing and barista skills.
So the promotion of the consumption of coffee locally is key in the improvement of the entire value chain, as we could say. And major initiatives should be taken. I know they are trying. Our government is trying to bring in several initiatives to Uganda Coffee Development Authority, but more should be done.
How do you boost national consumption of coffee? I think in the government's development plan, national 5-year development plan, it should come on the table. How government can invest to support deepen consumption of coffee internally.